Hello, everybody. So this is the second attempt to go live to the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. I'm Georgina. I'm the host and producer of Tinted Specs Podcast, and we are finally live to both the Tinted Specs Podcast Facebook page and the Tinted Specs Podcast YouTube channel. Wow, I thought I had it all set up and it went a little bit wrong. But I'm here now, and this is the first of 4 weekly live episodes entitled Podcast Episode of the Week. So whilst we wait and see if anyone joins us, I want to tell you about a few things that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. So tomorrow, that is Thursday, there's a new series of 4 videos coming out entitled How to Start a Podcast. And this is basic baby steps. It's giving you bite-sized tips and advice that I've learned from my journey starting Tinted Specs Podcast, which is now on, I want to say, episode 34, I think, and 35 goes out next week. So I've managed to do it since, I suppose, April time, or even maybe end of March time earlier this year. And I have really enjoyed it, but my goodness, I've learned a lot. Today I've learned a lot as well about going live. So it's just little bite-sized tips. They're shortish videos, and then I signpost you in the direction of people that can give you some other more detailed bits of advice. So it's really about helping you start your podcast journey, because everybody can do it. You really don't need much tech or experience, in fact, and it's every time it's a learning journey. So today I'm here for podcast episode of the week. I'm really excited. So I wanted to revisit some of the earlier podcast episodes that came out when, right from the beginning. So right from episode 1. So the one I wanted to focus on today is episode 7, and it is with the lovely Zoë Folbigg, who is a best-selling author. She has written 4 books which are out. They are called, I'm going to get this in the right order this time, The Note. Let me get that for you here. Here we are. The Note is the first book that she wrote, and it's a beautiful story about how she met her partner. So it's based on real life, on the commute to London. I'll come back to what's upsetting me about not the book, but the commute. Who's commuting anymore? Maybe people are missing out on meeting the love of their life. Anyway, I'll be quiet about that. The second book is called The Distance. The third one is called the Postcard, and that's the sequel to The Note. I have that as well. I think I've got them both, but I can't find them today. And the fourth one is this one, which came out, I don't know, the paperback came out in May this year, and it's called The Night We Met. And so I wanted to tell you a little bit about the podcast episode and a little bit about this book, because it is great holiday reading. It's a fantastic story, and I'm going to give you a little bit of extra info, because it was actually based the idea was on a trip she did with her family to Milan. They were actually on holiday in Switzerland, but they came back via Milan, and it's the 48 hours they spent in Milan and getting to know it. And a lot of the story is based on, it kind of comes from that experience. So there's a few other kind of interesting facts that she talks about in the interview about that book, but she also gives us some really interesting insights into how she comes up with the ideas for the stories, how she writes the stories, kind of how detailed she gets on the plot. She has lots of different Word documents, and also when she gets further along, how she's literally moving post-its around to work out what happens at what point in the timeline, and what was happening to her during the lockdown, because actually this episode came out at the end of April, was that as we went into lockdown earlier, my goodness, I don't know, it feels like such a long, the year before, I guess. Was it the year before? Yes, it was. She was basically coming to the editing point of The Night We Met, But of course, lockdown happened, homeschooling, looking after the kids. She's got 2 young boys, and we were only allowed out for an hour every day. So it didn't really give her much mental space to be able to kind of work out how to edit the book, and also how to start writing, what was going to happen in the storyline for her 5th book. Yes, because she is an avid writer. She loves writing, and she also loves bringing inspiration from day-to-day life. So part of her inspiration is literally she'll see people on the tube. If we were going that much on the tube, I hope people are, or at work or on holiday, and she would sit there and she'd kind of create a backstory for them, not based on any facts whatsoever. And this is what she loves to do, and this is why she loves writing stories. I have to say, what always impresses me about her books is that the storyline is very intricate. It interweaves with each other, and I was interested to hear she doesn't, she's not so fanatical about where her story is going to go, and often during the writing of it, the direction does change a little bit. She has a basic idea, and then she allows it to kind of flow through what's happening in her life. She also told us how important Zumba was, and also I think it was like an Xbox game which her husband gave her, which is like dance orientated as well, because obviously we weren't allowed out very much. So being able to do that kind of activity in the house kind of really, really helped her. What else should I tell you? Well, an interesting fact, we actually met in 2002 on a charity trek for a cancer charity in Peru, in Cusco, which was run by a photographer called Maxwell Milligan. He's actually does these fantastic coffee books, photographic coffee books. And it was a great trip. And that's where we first met. And to be honest, that's one of the amazing things about this podcast, is that I get to get in touch with people I've met along the journey of my life and to reconnect. Because you'll notice, it's the opposite way. The cover, the title says COVID tinted glasses. Now, that was the name of the podcast when I first started, but it evolved to Tinted Specs Podcast, I suppose, around episode 17, 18. So it was really based initially on how I was feeling I was missing out on these random interactions or people I would meet when I went traveling on the road on my little trips I used to go on. And I was really missing seeing a lot of my friends who live all around the world as well. So this, that's why I kind of started the podcast. So hence a lot of the initial podcasts are with friends, people I've seen, I've met over the years, and Zoe is one of them. So at the time I met her, she was a journalist. She was a writer, I should say. And so since that time, she's now started to write her own books. And so that's really exciting. So you should definitely have a look at The Night We Met. She is the only person I actually know who has their own Amazon page. Unbelievable. You just put in Zoë Folbigg and it comes up, and she has her own Amazon page. But to watch the video, I've put the links in the comments below. I think it's definitely worth having a listen to again. You can see the teaser video on the Facebook page, but you can watch the full one on the YouTube channel. Just follow the links in the comments. What else do I need to say? Well, come back again next week where I talk about another Tinted Specs podcast episode. And hopefully we will have less tech issues then. So make sure you come back to the YouTube channel tomorrow to watch the How to Start a Podcast. It's going out on the Facebook page. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Make sure you subscribe. There's a subscription link in the comments too. Any likes, comments would be great on both the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. Otherwise, come on over to the Instagram page. There's quite a lot going on over there. So come back and visit again. See you again next time. Bye-bye. Right, let's get the off switch. Hold on, people.